It seems Ralph Waldo Emerson has been a part of my life practically since before I was born. When my father was a very young man, he met a very old man who, when he was a very young man, met Ralph Waldo Emerson. So by that measure, I was only 2 people removed from the sage of Concord. Later, as my graduation gift from the teachers of the Waldorf School in Sacramento, California, I was given 2 small books, one the works of Henry David Thoreau, the other Ralph Waldo Emerson. Many years afterward, through happy happenstance, when I was in Concord celebrating the 200th anniversary of the birth of Ralph Waldo Emerson, I met and, to a certain extent, rescued his great-grandson, and as a consequence, became friends with the poet Alec Emerson. Though Ralph Waldo Emerson's works can always be found in the literature section of every bookstore, I believe they should be set upon the shelves of the highest pantheon of philosophers. I decided to record a little bit of Emerson and talk about him just a bit occasionally. Here's my first offering. It's the first few paragraphs from Emerson's essay on nature. This essay for me was a great awakening. In Emerson's description of the natural world, I found a way where I could conceive of the notion of God in a way that reached far beyond the angry old white guy in the sky. As a Unitarian, like Ralph Waldo Emerson, who was a Unitarian minister, in fact, and as myself the daughter of a Unitarian minister, I was always comfortable with the idea of God in the abstract, but we Unitarians are wary of anything approaching literality in that regard. Emerson's characterization of God in things small and large, in the wheeling of the stars and the growing of a single blade of grass, made sense to me and allowed me to more comfortably sense God in the way that I had done organically and naturally as a child before trauma and tragedy knocked my understanding of a benevolent universe right out of the sky. It was Emerson who, in this essay, pointed up, said, "Look," showed me the great spiraling universe, and began to whisper to me that I had a place in it. Nature. To go into solitude, a man needs to retire as much from his chamber as from society. I am not solitary whilst I read and write, though nobody's with me. But if a man would be alone, let him look at the stars. The rays that come from those heavenly worlds will separate between him and what he touches. One might think the atmosphere was made transparent with this design, to give man, in the heavenly bodies, the perpetual presence of the sublime. Seen in the streets of cities, how great they are! If the stars should appear one night in 1,000 years, how would men believe and adore and preserve for many generations the remembrance of the city of God which had been shown? But every night come out these envoys of beauty and light the universe with their admonishing smile. The stars awaken a certain reverence because, though always present, they are inaccessible. But all natural objects make a kindred impression when the mind is open to their influence. Nature never wears a mean appearance. Neither does the wisest man extort her secret and lose his curiosity by finding out all her perfection. Nature never became a toy to a wise spirit. The flowers, the animals, the mountains reflected the wisdom of his best hour as much as they had delighted the simplicity of his childhood. That's it for now. I hope to record a bit more another time. But I want to remind you that Emerson is here telling us that if the stars appeared only once in a millennium, we would count it as a very message from Valhalla itself. But because they're out every night, we are sometimes blind to their beautiful message of pattern, and perhaps the promise of a great iterative force beyond and behind and beneath it all. He also concludes the second paragraph of the first 2 paragraphs of Nature by reminding us that in looking to nature, we return to the innocence and the faith, the innate faith, of our childhood. Until next time.